Hello again. So today we're going to do a video on print spotting. It's a follow-up from the video I did on removing the black specks from your prints. I realize this isn't the most exciting video that I'm going to make, but it's definitely a necessary one. Because like I said in the other video, if you haven't already run into these problems, you will, and it's best to have as much knowledge as you can on how to tackle them, because there's different ways to take care of all these different problems. So I'm going to show you my process for spotting prints, and I hope that you get some insight and help when it comes time to spot your own. So let's just get right into this and we'll take a look. So what I like to do is just use these corner mounts. That way I can, I have a little bit more stable surface to work on. So then I use one of these little artist trays, and I take a few drops of each one of these Marshall's Spot All liquids. And it comes in a series of different colors. And let's see, we have blue black, neutral black, olive tone, brown tone, and selenium brown. And what I do is put them out here, and that way I can kind of combine them and mix them to match the colors that I'm looking for. So the first thing I'm gonna do is, this was just a neutral multi-grade classic fiber-based print. I did go a little bit heavy on the selenium. So I'm gonna use the selenium and the neutral black and mix those up and see if we get a close match. In this film can, I just put a few drops, usually one drop of photo flow, and then I add some water to it, and that just helps break the surface tension. I usually just work on a dry print, and then so I'll just take this and take a little of the selenium and put it up here. And a little of the neutral black, and put it right next to it. Add a little more water, and then just kind of mix the two. And these are all on really the lighter upper highlights in gray tones. So this is a little bit more challenging. So I'm gonna make sure this is really, really light. And now what you want to do, so I like to just use a scrap print, and then instead of, I just don't like messing up the borders on the actual picture. So like I said, I'm going really, really dilute because I'm going in the upper highlights. So that's gonna be too dark, but the color looks good. Those two look like they'll match it pretty good. A little bit more. Like I said, what you want to do is build it up. So you want to go really, really light, especially in the case of these spots. You want to go really, really light and just lightly build it up. Okay, so that's looking pretty good right there. So I just take a glove. So then what you're going to want to do is just make lightly tiny dots inside. Very lightly build up the density in there. Then you're going to take a little bit more. So you want to probably do, 4 to 5 passes on light densities building up to what you're actually going for. You can do it in less, but the more time you take on this, the better it's going to actually look. So I recommend, definitely taking your time with it. And like I said, these upper highlights can tend to be some of the harder areas to do. And the whole idea is you want to conceal these. The better job you can do, clearly the better it's gonna be. But like the one I just did now, if I look at this at viewing distance, I can't see it at all. If I look really, really close, I can see it. So that might be good enough. I can always go in and try and do it a little bit better, but a lot of times it's gonna be, you did what you set out to do. But you're definitely better off building up the densities slowly to bring it up and to match it than to try and do it in one pass. Not that you can't do it in one pass, it's just probably always gonna look better if you do it in a couple. So then we'll just go on to the next little spot here. And then I just keep checking on the edge of the print, this scrap print, you know, to kind of make sure I'm not going to be going too dark too quickly. And if you just go a little too dark, you can always just dab a tiny bit of water and hit it on there, and that should kind of dilute it out on the print. And actually the way that this worked out, I did that, and then this one kind of filled in perfectly. And you'll find that happens sometimes. So I went a little bit dark, and then instead of, you know, don't panic. That's the first step, is don't panic. And then I just grabbed a little bit more water, and now I'm just kind of blending it in, and it literally just disappeared before my eyes, like, perfectly. So that is like best case scenario. But really what you want is to blend it in. Yeah, so that's really good. You want to blend it in so that it just matches the surroundings, so that you can't see it from, you know, a normal viewing distance. And I can't even find that one anymore. This one went a little bit dark on me. So I'll still try and just hit it with some straight water and see. Yeah, there we go. So in these upper light areas, that really can help if you just dab a little straight water, and it'll kind of dilute everything out if you have a kind of a dark spot there. So those areas look like I couldn't find those spots. So if you can't find the spots that you spotted out, you did good. That would be what I would say about that. And then if you do go too dark, this is just a mixture of water. This is 15 milliliters of water with about around 6 drops of just regular 10% ammonia. And then you're gonna take one of these little pads and just dunk it in there, and then you wanna kind of squeeze it out. You don't wanna get this super wet. And then you'll just lightly dab at it. And that will lighten up the area. So if you go too far, this is the way that I will, you know, kind of run it in. But you don't want to get it super wet, because it's going to kind of bubble up the emulsion. So I'm about halfway through spotting this print. There's a couple more little spots here and here, and I came across another little black dot that's kind of bugging me. So I thought I'd show you how I etch a print as well. Now this method, I could go back in and bleach that, but I'm pretty much just about done with this print, so I'm just gonna try the etching method, and that should take care of it. So in the order of, you know, like I said last time, there's 3 different ways that I take care of these black specks and dust specks. And this would be the second. My first method would be to bleach the black speck and then respot it. The second method for me in order would be to etch the print. And then the third method for me personally would be to retouch the negative. That's just how the order that I like to do them in. But anyway, let me show you how I do that. So this is the type of scalpel that I personally like to use to do this. And then what you're gonna basically do is it's pretty self-explanatory, but there are a few things that I want to say about it. You want to be very, very subtle and light and take your time. The thing about it is you don't want to just gouge out the spot. What you can do is just lightly lightly scrape the print. And let me just start doing this. There's a little spot right here. We didn't bleach it, so we'll go to the knife. This is a little bit of a bigger spot, so hopefully I can. You don't want to, I think I probably used the peak a little bit and caught it. So you want to just lay off the point. Let me go a little tiny bit more, and then I'm going to just hit that with a little bit of dye. Yeah, now I'm going to spot that back just a little bit because, like I said, I went a little too far, and there's not much you can do about that except for then just hit it with a little bit of the spotting dyes. And then just spot it back like you normally would. And I'm just trying to cover up those bright white spots. The lucky thing about these highlight areas on this ice is that it has some kind of speckles, and it's not like a super even highlight area. So like, skies and real even tone highlight areas tend to be the most difficult, I guess. It's a little dark. I have to hit that with some water. Oh, there we go. Now if I just dab a little water on it, that dark spot should, too much. That should blend in. Yep, there we go. A little too much water, but then I'm just gonna take one of these and dab it off, and now you can't see that at all. Yeah, so that worked out pretty good. So that is how you would etch, and then if you go too far, spot it back. So as always, I hope that you found this video helpful. I hope that you learned a little something and are more confident in tackling any dust problems, any negative defects, anything of that nature. I know it is one of the biggest pains of analog photography, especially optically printing. So the better you can handle dust up front, the less you'll have to use these techniques, but it is definitely valuable to know how to do this stuff. So again, if you have any questions, leave a comment below. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and turn the notifications on, and I'll see you in the next video.